Welcome back to Streamline Investigations. It's Marvin speaking. We're just going to get into the community messages, which I read every day or every other day. If I don't read them out, you'll definitely get a thumbs up from me. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. It's much appreciated. Yes, any little bit of an article, we need to put it out there. Keep up the good work. This is an exceptional, strange family. They're hiding behind something. Keep throwing this up and keep us informed. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have basically got people on our side who know reporters worldwide, like Ali Harris and also Don as well. Don's mentioned the Facebook group. We're going to keep an eye on that as well. I've got probably Don on tomorrow, just waiting for more information from him. Then we'll go again. Uh, Grover hates Lemo says, Elmo says, Don makes a lot of good points. I greatly appreciate his straight talk. Don't doesn't shy away from the elephant in the room. Who does to him? Even with our very liberal gun laws here in the US, if an unarmed person parked in front of my house and started walking down my drive, whether a member of the press, Jehovah's Witnesses, trick or treat or whatever, I came out with a gun like that, the police would be called and I would be in trouble. There was no threat to life, property from an unarmed small woman in the middle of the day. It does, however, show a potential for rage to concern me. People with missing children want their child story and face in the news. I suspect the delay in reporting, lack of statements, etc., might have something to do with Robert's desire to keep his personal situation more private. I also feel strongly that Robert's condition is with the police are treating the family with kids' gloves. I agree. That is a brilliant message. And do you know what? I do think, like I said, the police are treading carefully for some reason, which is kind of odd. And like I said, I think Don is an Australian, straight talking. I know many Australians because I spent a lot of time in Thailand in business as well there. At the end of the day, I met a lot of Australians out there, and they're sound people. You know what you're going to get, and I truly, truly respect that. Mark Robinson said had a uncle who was a wanderer. If I remember the story correctly, once he was found on the dairy, five came away at 4-year-old, and this makes no sense. You can see along a way in these places, no scavengers or birds spotted. If he wandered off, they would have found him. Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, the smell of rotten flesh, whether it was an animal or human, that would have been apparent. That's a really good point, Mark. Thank you for that, Marilyn. Wow. Thank you, Ali. Much love. Ali's been kind of busy recently, but she will do videos and I'll put them up at the end of the day because, like I said, she has a lot of world contacts. She knows reporters as well. Her background is in the medical world as well. So anything medical that anybody wants to know, put some questions out there. And I think Ali has put an email out there. The family being overly guarded raises suspicion. Thank you, Vens, for being a full member, sweetheart. Thank you, Ali. This case is a mystery. Poor little Gus and Josh. Yes, Ali does some great work at the end of the day. She had been kind of poorly recently, but like I said, she is back to her best. So, but like I said, she works for the channel when she wants to work. To be honest with you, she's not forced. At the end of the day, she's a really good friend of mine, and basically, when she has got information, she will definitely put that out there. That child hadn't been seen by anyone apart from the three adults in the house with him for over 4 months before he disappeared. You can't shoot snakes in SA because they are protected species. If there had been one of that on that veranda, the Kelpie, besides the maniac wielding the shotgun, would have been going effing mental, allergic to dangers like snakes. Sorry, that's funny. It's one of the sheepdog's primary jobs. I'm not one of those adults, rang the child's father. He was awoken in the middle of the night by police asking did he have the boy? They needed to be investigated from another region because this case has been mishandled appallingly from the moment they got the missing person report. They all need to be put back on traffic duty. Thank you, Serendipity. Appreciate that one. Great message there. And like I said, this is a case which I think is going to go on and on and on. And I think the whole world basically should push for the police to do more. I'm probably going to basically see if I can email basically some of the police that are in charge of the case, senior, and ask them what's going on, because like I said, we want to know more and we want to find this 4-year-old boy. Great interview on different opinions and possibilities, a few comments and questions. I'm in South Australia, and the AFL GF finished about 5:30 p.m. local time. Interesting. I distinctly remember 2 main SAPL notification post game being one, the missing guy whose car was found a few hours earlier. Suspicious activity in Craigmore. I pointed out the ridiculous notification when I saw them of the hundreds of missing persons. None make notifications within hours, and suspicious activity in the northern suburb is everyday life here. Wow. Did anyone see the sheep approaching the search parties? Youths expecting a bail? Good point. Could any sheep farmers explain why dusk is when they tend to sheep? Question mark. Very good point. User. You say the family had friends in high places. Was the South Australian police first mistake letting it hit the news? Was the timing of the report by design? Is the trans granny affiliated with the family? Is this why the mother's father and SAPL are afraid to speak? Yeah, I agree. I do think that the police know something, but they're not saying. Have this family got a bit of power that maybe the South Australian police don't want to come out? But it's really, really strange, people. This case needs to have answers very, very soon, or I think there's going to be uproar. And I certainly don't want this to be a case that keeps going on and on. There's only one snake there, and we know who that is. Truth shall prevail. Someone knows what's happened. They should all be interrogated and put on lie detectors. That's the only way we will get justice for little Gus. Love him, so precious. Sending blessings from Queensland, Australia. Thank you very much, Lynn. Appreciate you. Interesting how police were called once it was dark or more difficult to search. Ben's full member says the family workers and everyone with access to the farm must be questioned, also neighbours. Who was on the property the day and at 5 p.m? Did the family watch the football and have visitors, or were 2 of them away to feed the sheep and look after them? Why do they change their explanations? Which is correct? Very good point, Vens. Could this revenge for something unresolved? Could there be a disagreement with neighbours, workers, and someone who has helped on the farm without being paid or not being treated with anything in return? Envy, jealous, inheritance, a settlement disagreement to the immediate family, except this one between Josh and Josie. Does the family have any enemies? I read the comment that Shannon had a son. Does anyone know if this is true? Could someone have been on a farm around this time and managed to take Gus away without anyone seeing it, or was it an agreement? Question mark. Someone knows, and I think someone is lying. Why don't the police bring in the people around Gus and question them? The house and everything else should be thoroughly investigated. I believe the police did go into the house, but like I said, I don't think that house has been forensically tested. I really don't. For blood, catheter dogs, I don't think they've been in there. That's just my viewpoint, people. Why don't the police hold a press conference with journalist presence where questions can be asked and answers are expected? That's a very good point. Why won't the family come forward to the media? That's something I don't understand, and I think that someone knows but forced to keep quiet, or is loyal to the person who have the answers. That's a very, very good point, Ben's, and it's just becoming more alarming and more alarming and more alarming. And I'm starting to get worried, but like I said, I think I'll put my worries in basically a video after this one, people, because like I said, it needs to be discussed. Thank you, Vens. Well-known family, that's possible, very, very possible. I mean, they've got a history, basically, haven't they? So I think they know people in high places. Gus wouldn't have only walked towards the mother or neighbours. Yeah, I agree, because he's, do you know what? No, you are. I also think that even if he did wander off, he would have done it before. At the end of the day, this is my thoughts. This is what makes this case very, very weird. Donna from Down Under says he had a loaded gun in one hand and holding 4 extra shotgun cartridges in the other hand. Anyone who anticipated needing 5 shotty shots to dispatch a snake should never be around firearms. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the good work, Marvin. Thank you very much, Marilyn. And appreciate you. And Timmy, these boys are suffering start in the home and end in the home. Good point, Angel. Chris McGrath just watched the story of David Paul's Canon missing channel about a 5-year-old girl in 1945, South Australia, who went missing for 77 hours and was found 50 miles away, hungry and thirsty, but alive and well. Also on rural properties. Her name was Elaine Long. Thank you very much for that, Chris. I just don't think Gus is going to walk that far. I really don't think so at the end of the day. Is either the 2 points I've come to, which I'll discuss later, is I've been taken off the property by someone. And I think it could be an internal problem with Josh and Josie, a battle over the kid and his, having his own family away from Josie, or there's been an accident or he's been killed and the family know what's happened. It's just as simple as that. Chris says, Megan GSXRLF, Gus wandered off. How long could he last without food and water, and how far could he travel in that time? 10 to 20, 30 kilometers. How far have they searched so far? If a 5-year-old girl can travel 50 miles KS in 77 hours, how far could Trust travel? He said 4 days, 90 hours plus. I think they should take drones out of 100 km circumferences and work inwards. Just my thoughts. Yeah, I agree, Chris. Yeah, I think every possibility, basically, of circumference should be checked. I just don't think he's going to. Me personally, I think, I think he wouldn't get that far. But like I said, there's no harm in putting that forward through the police to serve a bigger circumference. I think they've thought about it as well. His grandmother Josie was the last person to see Gus, and the last person to see someone go missing. They a high percentage in my theories, they know something. Gus was never there that day. I believe you. The lone wolf, I do go with that. I really do. You're right. So right, no clear timeline at all. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, the lone wolf. Guy says nobody was held at gunpoint. That ignorant journalist walked onto the private property after being told that she was not welcome. Yeah, I agree, Guy. But like I said, I think there were other basically journalists from the Mail that she was actually talking to. Maybe they didn't expect that hostile sort of comeback there, because she could have said, Josie could have said, look, at the end of the day, leave the property without brandishing a shotgun, and I don't believe it about the snake. So let me just blow this up a little bit. Right, the first thing that stands out in our own media is so heavily censored here in Australia. We are not getting anything from them, but they remain quiet. There were no death in reports or anything like that on this matter, and that is unusual, says Eureka. There are no new information at all. Where there have been other cases where a child has gone missing, there is always a real big deal made about it. It's not in this case. This is odd. This was originally 2 photos of Gus released at the start, but one was taken down. That was the one with Gus in profile and had very long strawberry blonde hair halfway down his back. And that is unusual for a little boy living on a sheep station, definitely. That is more something you see on a hippie farm, not a sheep station. It must have been a sage brushing the hair of a little 4-year-old each morning. Little kids cry and complain about that sort of thing. I know I saw when I was little and begged my mother to cut my hair. It hurt so badly to have my hair brushed out each day, especially if it's thick. And his hair is quite thick as well, thick and curly, with all the knots. And if you don't tie the hair back, the knots get even worse. This is something odd about this case, and the police threatening the reporter for darling to ask questions is really not usual, since the reporter, a lone woman that actually threatened with a shotgun. This is raises red flags. I think this is all about political correctness. No one is allowed to ask questions about the transgender grandfather. This is a history in South Australia dating well back in time of protecting PDF in high places. The people of South Australia know about the dating all the way back, the family murders with Bevan Spencer. Vaughan Enham was only the one arrested in jail for series of young boys going missing, and was known to have involved a group of men. You can all Google that history. It is thought people very in high places were involved, such as possibly doctors, lawyers, and even magistrates. Or people may have been involved in the drugging and kidnapping of young boys, and men who were subjected to the unspeakable abuse, and bodies then found with certain injuries or some floating in Torrens River. Just the week of the prominent lawyers were arrested and charged with numerous offences of young boys. This is also the Australians can get made with media from overseas, come to Australia and start making assumptions based on poor knowledge of Australian culture-based stuff they have read or heard somewhere else. Thank you, Eureka. Very deep. You've made some really, really good points and stuff I didn't even know about as well. Thank you for that. Donna from Down Under says, I haven't seen the voter you refer to with long strawberry blonde hair, but reinforces my original thought opinion when I viewed the existing vote that Gus was being transitioned into a little girl. Very worrying, very weird, the testimony table says. All of Don's cringy with comments and made up nicknames for Josie distract from anything of any value he may have in relation to Gus' disappearance. If he allows Facebook group to engage in this kind of language, this ultimately won't be helpful in finding Gus. Rein it in, Don, to stop talking on YouTubers' geese. It's an embarrassment to normal Aussies. Please don't think we are all like Don. We are not. I think, look, whatever Josie originally Robert is, that's entitled up to him, her, how he basically lives her life. I do listen to other people's opinions. I don't think, like I said, that personally we should. My job is looking for Gus and trying to find Gus. I don't think we should be basically, I wouldn't say abusing Robert, but like I said, just because of his gender change. I personally think at the end of the day, what we must find, my job is just to find the truth and find out what happened to Gus at the end of the day. I don't like basically Robert stroke Josie's attitude in this case and blanking any help at the end of the day, but it's up to us to put obviously things out there from the police, and the news reporters are not put rubbish out there. But like I said, at the end of the day, it is interesting, the case, but like I said, we need to keep on the straight and narrow at the end of the day, and what counts is finding Gus. Thank you for that. Yes, Joshua's probably did kidnap Gus. It's a possibility, Pummer. What proof is it that Josie was on her own while the mother Jess and grandmother Shannon was doing anything with the sheep? It's only on Josie's say so, tending the sheep or looking for lost sheep. If they then, how did they go 10 km on foot, horseback or vehicle, and the big grand final football was on, etc., etc. Yeah, it is very, very strange. This is very, very strange. And somebody did mention earlier on the case, have they been drinking and an accident happened? You just don't know, but that's a possibility. We've got to look at everything. That always stuck in my mind. Mark Townsend's statements like this would have been found is a lack of knowledge of the Australian outback. Agreed. Yeah, there's a lot about on the internet. Everyone's Sherlock when it comes to getting clicks and likes. Yeah, but like I said, we're not here. I'm not here to get clicks and likes. This is why I put videos out, because we are looking for a missing 4-year-old boy, and that's what we're looking. John Bonnet, police incompetent. Madeleine McCann, Portuguese police, British police, German police, all incompetent. Gus Lamont, now South Australian police. Good point. External investigation needed. That's what I said. Start 5K out and work their way in. Okay, Chris, that's interesting. I mean, you've got a point there. Yes, don't glad you didn't hold back, said Grace. I don't think the brand together now only old pictures, like you said. Yeah, it's odd, that is. The family has way too much pull and power, too much secretive things going on. Yeah, we're not hearing anything. It's just the lack of love and attention, that if a 4-year-old boy went missing, you know, at least one of the parents would come out and say something. We haven't had that. And like I said, it says that, you know, it said in the early days that Josie and Shannon had fostered Gus. So it tells me they look after him. I wonder if that was all done behind his back. That would be interesting to know. Yeah, got to be something there on the gun thing, as following a recent case of Fogue bishops. When they searched the house and the car, they found guns and explosive bullets and all arrested from firstly for the possession. That was a great way to question them and keep an eye on, because I let them out on bail. Everyone got angry, but this is where they watched the separated and had to report the police station every day. They succeeded. They are now locked up. Grace, that's a really, really good point. Really, Josie should have been arrested and had a good talking to Monty. Josie was nicknamed Snow. Really, John? Who are you, Josie? Why no search warrant for the house? I've always said that, Chris. It's absolutely bar. It's not a criminal case. Says at Nuclear Days. Yeah, understood. Serendipity says, it is a missing child's case. In every missing child's case, everywhere in the world, the family home is searched. There's a very good reason for this, and that is that the case of missing children are the vast majority of them turn out to be that the parents or caregivers, of course, harm to the child or someone very close to them, such as an uncle, family member, stranger. Abduction is the least likely scenario as the solution to a case of a missing child under 5. Yeah, I agree. Serendipity, I totally agree. Yes, don't be silent. Thank you, Grace. He could have organised a mate to take him. I hope so. I hope he's still alive. I really do, Grace. Chris, the page is sideways. Yeah, sorry about that, people. That was the way Ali sent the video. You do not fire a gun in closed areas and shelter porch either. So stupid to think that he would. So it's a rubbish story, crap story, really. Good point, Grace. According to my sidekicks, Gus is buried in a shed type building where there is a white rock wall and possibly a steel white gate. Angel, interesting. Keep searching at the end of the day, and anything important comes up, or there's something like this, do report it to myself or the police. Thank you. So we can get this out. Judy, I just wanted to find the article of the Daily Mail site, and it had been deleted. Thought I'd let you know. Yeah. Gus will never be found, unfortunately. Alibaba, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This has been in my thoughts for quite a while, but I didn't want to put it out there. But like I said, it's something that I thought about over the last week. And this is why I'm just pushing for answers and really getting as much information out there. Yes, some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. And the thing I don't want to do is to keep going around in circles. But what I will do is bring up valid points, which I think which needs to be talked about. Amanda White says, I think you're right. Black Augusta is alive. It's a custody battle. Joshua kidnapped his own son. I hope so. I really, really do hope so. This Don is a nutcase. He's raving on. each time about the same things. There's a problem when you can't interrupt him. He just keeps raving on. The Flacker, we'll talk. I think Don is good for the channel. He's also said he's going to start digging into things that haven't been discussed. I agree with you. We do need a new topic of conversation, but like I said, there will be more control, because I think Ali will probably come back on the next one as well. There will be control about speaking time as well, because we all need to make points. I do agree with you. No, he is angry. Well, our Don is good. I talk to him a lot, and he has valid points. Leave him. He won't be silenced. Yeah, well, I mean, we need people like this in this world at the end of the day. I generally like straight talking people, and this is why I let him talk. But like I said, if we will organise it a little bit better, so people, obviously, because there could be more than one person on the show. I would be careful about talking about boundaries, mate. The reporter had not been invited on allowed on the property. You can imagine how many of this family would have to turn away at this point. Just went onto the property like a thief with accusations firstly. Secondly, transition takes the medication messes up the body chemistry and is expensive. Very true. Thirdly, the police have not put out any more info. Everyone else is just adding to the problem. Only really holy people connected with God will get a glimpse from a child if still alive, or not dozed through a glimpse of what they are being held on the road or a place to death. If past Marvin, please, you and Ali are more inside than the folks you are interviewing. Now, no offense, it's very rude no matter how he feels. Yeah, look, I agree. No, you are. I think everyone's got their individual points. Ali has got a lot of basically worldly experience. She knows a lot of people in high professional opinions. Don does as well. What he's told me, but like I said, I think the next time they actually do come on the show, we got to come up with different things. I agree with that. What shite is on about holy people getting a glimpse of Gus? W2F, who are you? Let's obviously keep things friendly, people, because like I said, the reason why I'm here is basically to find Gus. Cook and Queen, for the people that don't know, am I listening to the BS Donna is spreading? Mum was actually in the house with Grandma and Grandpa. They had fed the sheep earlier that day. If it was late afternoon and Gus was playing in the sand outside the back, I could be in the front door. I'm pretty much a desert take peek, but John is telling people that the kids was in the car. How does Donna know that the kid was in the car when they were feeding the sheep several hours earlier when you are there, John? Did you see what happened, or did you take the child and now you're building a story to cover your arse? You think you know what happened, but you don't. You don't know much as well as me, and I think I know a little bit more than you because I'm not puffing myself, pretending I've got all the answers. But I do look at all the logically and naturally. And John, you are looking a bit shady right now. You are throwing shades at the parents, the grandparents, and I'm throwing shades at you. Done your summing? Are you done? Were you until the day? Did you go on the property and see that the poor little boy grab him? Where is he gone? Question mark. Where's the little boy? You seem to have much knowledge on what didn't happen. Have you got any knowledge of actually what did happen? And should I send the cops around your house? Donald, should I look at your computer? I don't trust you, Dunn. I don't trust you, Don. I don't trust you as far as I could throw you. And that is not very far, says Cook and Queen. I'm not too sure, basically, who this John is, unless you're talking about Don. But like I said, I don't think this person knows Don, though, which is quite odd. Carly says you can claim to care about the boy's disappearance, and at the same time, without even circumstantial evidence, turn what is most likely to be an awful tragedy and his family's grief into a crime, mystery, drama porn for views. The mostly likely scenario that he wandered off, got lost, fell asleep for a few hours, and continued wandering around in the dark because Moore lost and his somewhat escaped the elements and died from dehydration exposure. They just haven't found the range yet. Look, the thing is, people, Kylie, they're always going to have their own viewpoints in cases like this. We're going to get over the top scenarios, what people are thinking, but we've got to think outside the box. I think if he wandered off, I think he would have been found. I personally don't think he did wander off. I think that is the least thing what happened to Gus, really. We are a channel that investigate, listen to people. Yeah, some of it could be rubbish. I get thousands of messages coming in on normal channels at the end of this. Some of it's rubbish, but some of the things that actually people say make a little bit of sense in this case. And like I said, we're just going to keep going forward as we do. Thank you very much, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamliner Investigations. More coming after this video. Thank you.